What's up, Woolly App? It's your girl, Hannah. I hope you are having a fantastic week so far as we are now into almost the end of October. Can you believe that? This is the third Wednesday of October, and oh my word, I've said this, I think, every podcast, but I mean it. This year has flown by. Like, 2020 felt like a super long year, and 2021, for some reason, whatever reason, seems to be flying by at an extremely fast pace, and it's kind of giving me a little bit of anxiety. I mean, before you know it's going to be Thanksgiving and then Christmas and then 2022. So anyway, all that to say, I hope you are having a fantastic week thus far. I hope you are enjoying yourselves, enjoying the weather, and yeah, let us know what's going on in your life. Follow us on Instagram. Of course, you can find us there. Our name is Woolly App, and you can also like us on Facebook. Our Facebook page is also Woolly App. And you can find ourselves, our individual people here at Woolly App, so to speak. I am Hannah Stevens. We also have Ernie Yarbrough, the owner and CEO of Woolly App. I am the social media manager, podcast manager, customer service person, so to speak. Then we have Chase Harrison, who does a lot for us, kind of like our Swiss Army knife. And then we have Jim Barb Haggerton, our medical guru, so to speak. And then we have Jocelyn and Gladys, our Spanish ladies, who have a lot of resources for our Spanish community as well. So a big team here at Woolly App, but we are so thankful for you. So you can look us up individually and make sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook. And if you've been following our podcast for the last 2 weeks, you know that we have been focusing a lot on respiratory support. I was joined by Gladys and Jocelyn the first 2 weeks, the last 2 episodes. Week 1, we talked about essential oils, what Young Living has to offer regarding oils to help you during this time of year for respiratory support. And last week, we dove more into what the respiratory system is and the products Young Living has besides oil. So beyond the oils at Young Living, what you can use to support your respiratory system. We talked about the Deep's Chest Rub. We talked about some shower steamers. We talked about some DIYs. And today's episode is going to be a little bit different. I just wanted to kind of talk a little bit more in depth about our respiratory system and some practical things you can do on a daily basis to support your respiratory system, but also an Woolly protocol, so to speak, an Woolly regimen that you can and should be doing, that I do every single day to make sure my respiratory system and my immune system, they go hand in hand really, are at their best possible level. So whenever I start feeling under the weather, there's things I do. Whenever I am out and about, there's things I do. And I just think it's so important that we talk about regimens and protocols and things that we should be doing on a daily basis, not only support our immune system, but to also support our respiratory system. So once again, go back and listen to our previous podcast if you haven't thus far. It'll kind of segue into today's episode. But once again, before we get started, I'm Hannah Stevens here with Woolly App. We welcome you to this latest episode of the Woolly App podcast. So today, like I said, I'm going to dive a little deeper into your respiratory system and some practical tools you can do, some practical things you can do during this time of year, so to speak. It can be any time of the year, but specifically this time of year to help your respiratory system. Now, a lot of these are things I do on a daily basis. So these are just suggestions. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not giving you medical advice that you should follow. I'm simply sharing my story and giving you some suggestions of a protocol that I do, that I think everyone should do, and I think it's awesome. So I tend to go into support mode this time of year for my immune system and respiratory system. So a lot of the things I do, I try to think everything I eat and drink affects me positively or negatively, right? So if I'm picking a Snickers bar or an apple, I'm thinking which one's gonna help me stay healthy, which one's going to support my immune system. And 5 years ago, even, I would never have thought that. So these are just some of the things I choose. So I love this time of year. I tend to always gravitate towards hot drinks. And there's a reason for that, because a lot of times cold drinks can actually increase mucus, while hot drinks actually dissolve it, okay? So that's why I do a lot of hot teas at night. I'll make some organic apple cider. There's some immune teas that you can look up. There's some with star anise and some lemon and ginger that you can do. There's some essential oil teas, some thieves tea. There's a lot you can do. A lot of people do raspberry tea or even vegetable broth. It's really good for you, especially at night, to drink hot drinks. Now, don't get me wrong. I like a nice coffee every now and then, but I know for my body, having hot drinks during this time of year really helps me, especially when they're immune supporting drinks, right? Second thing I try to do that I'm realizing I'm suffering now is dairy. I do better when I am not touching dairy. Now, I don't mind having half and half, spots of half and half here and there in my coffee, but cheese is a no-no for me. I know the second I've had cheese, I start going the thing, right? Like, it's something that I struggle with, and it's something that I've realized in my diet. Staying away from dairy helps me, especially someone who had, myself, major sinus surgery. Dairy makes mucus for me, and it causes a lot of congestion for me. So I try to stay away from those. Some other things, I try to eat hotter food, especially at night. So I love soups. I love chilies. I love brothy foods, especially this time of year. It really helps me, and a lot of spicy hot food. So having curry or some Thai foods, especially at night, really helps me feel a lot better. Some other things people do that I've started doing, a lot of people do oil pulling. So that's with coconut oil and Thieves. I gargle the Thieves mouthwash all day, every day, especially at night. And I think that's helped me stay pretty well. Now, this is something I do all year. I'm just throwing this out there. I try my best to stay on an alkaline diet. So you think your body's either acidic or alkaline, right? So you can actually use pee on a pH stick and kind of see where you're at. When you drink coffee, foods like coffee and chocolate and tomatoes, those are going to be more acidic than things like lettuce and spinach and celery and broth, stuff like that, So I try my best to, when I'm drinking coffee, to make myself more alkaline. I love salads. I love green leafy vegetables and lean meat. So that's something that I've really helped my diet within the last couple of years. Especially not only my immune system, my respiratory system. Some other things, tons of vitamins and minerals. So beyond Young Living. So while I'm taking, like on a daily basis, I take Super C, Super D, Alkaline. Alkaline's amazing. Like I just said with staying alkaline. Alkaline is amazing to help you with that. So I do that. Super C, Super D, ImmuPro. I don't do ImmuPro daily. I do it like at least once or twice a week. I take Inner Defense every other night. I take multigreens every day. Those are just some of the Young Living supplements I take. But beyond Young Living, I take so many natural herbs and vitamins and minerals that are so good for you, like quercetin, NAC, absorbic vitamin C, liquid vitamin D and K12, so D3, K12. I take lysine, echinacea. There are just so many natural things I take that have really helped me stay well, really since the beginning of 2020. Had I have known what I know now then, even 2 years ago, I would have done this way sooner. But I have found that this works for me, and you have to find what works for you. These are just some practical suggestions. Another thing, working out every single day. Now, let me just say this. You don't have to run a mile every single day to be in shape. Some people are in the best shapes of their life doing slight cardio, but doing a lot of strength and weight training, right? So if you do CrossFit, like I do, you know that even when you're doing the strength portion of the workout, whether it's deadlifts, touch and go deadlifts, pulse, front squats, bench press, snatches, clean and jerks, whatever it may be, you will find yourself breathing heavy and getting a good heart pay, like getting a really high heart rate just from doing the strength work. And that is really building your endurance and, like your heart and your breathing. That's really good for you. So just doing something every single day, whether it's yoga or running or working out, just getting active and moving is going to help you on so many different levels. And then, of course, avoiding smoke, whether you're smoking or secondhand, staying away from that and vaping and all of that. That is so important for our respiratory system. And, if you have smoked or you are a smoker, I love fume pipes. They're called FUM, fume pipes. And I have one, and I actually gave one to my friend who has been vaping for 5 or 6 years. And all they are is a little like wooden pipe, so to speak. And they have these little inserts you put in them, and you drop essential oils in them, whether it's peppermint for breathing or aroma ease if you have motion sickness, or whether it's lavender for calming effects, whatever. You can put any oil in there you want to inhale. But I love peppermint. I do that before I work out. I do that when I just feel like I need a really good deep breath, and I love that this time of year. It's just really good for your respiratory support. So that is just some of the suggestions I do. Now, I will kind of take you through my OLI protocol, so to speak, now very quickly before we wrap up this episode on what I do on a daily basis. So let's just pretending I'm waking up. First thing I do, drink some water, drink a hot cup of coffee, and get my day going. I intermittent fast, so I don't eat till lunch. So once I do that, I oil myself up. I have an immune roller with a bunch of immune supporting oils. I roll on my spine and my feet. I get myself dressed. I go out the door. And when I get in my car, I put lemon myrtle in my hair. I don't know if you know what, you can Google Young Living Nose Swipe, but it's rose ointment with Exodus 2 and Egyptian gold. I put that in my nose. I spray deep spray. I put a spray in my mouth, a spray on my hair, and use tons of hand sanitizer, and I go. And once I'm out and about, I continue to use my Thieves. I continue to make sure that I'm washing my hands and all that. And then throughout the day, I just used a ton of oils. I love putting RC and Breathe Again on my chest during the day. I feel like it just helps me get a better breath. I put peppermint on my back of my neck throughout the day. I love the Thieves chest rub as well. But then around lunch, that's when I take some vitamins and minerals, especially multigreen, Super B, Super D, and Super C, all the super vitamins, so to speak, that Young Living has to offer. And then I love drinking Young Living's Vitality Drops. I drink those throughout the day. And then once, I guess, evening, I know there's things I'm missing here. There are Crossfit. That's obviously going to be a nitro, some more respiratory oils. I love putting Digest on my belly before I work out. And then at night, I take a ton of supplements. So that's when the quercetin, NAC, echinacea, interdefense, EMPRO, that's when all of those come into effect as well. And then there's other ones I take, but those are just a few to note that I love taking on a nightly basis. That's when also I drink alkaline with some vitamin C and mix that up and drink that every single night. That seems to really help me. And then I always make sure to diffuse Thieves and Peace and Calming in cedarwood beside my bed. And that's just a very simple, really easy OLI protocol. That's what I do on a daily basis. Now, you need to know what your routine is. You need to stick with something. It is like second nature to me. I literally find myself putting lemon myrtle in my hair and nose swipe in my nose before I even realize I'm doing it. Like, it's just such second nature for me. But you have to figure out what you need to do to support yourself, whether that's making an immune roller and, using that daily. We just made one here at a local last night. It was 10 drops frankincense, 10 drops oregano, 10 drops Thieves, filling it with carrier oil and having that in your car. So as you're going out and about, you can just see it and put it on your back throughout the day to help your immunities, right? Whether it's making a respiratory roller, which it could be Breathe Again, eucalyptus radiata, RC, and having that, filling it with carrier oil and just rubbing it on your chest throughout the day, just to make sure you can get a good deep breath, right? Like, there are so many things, small things throughout the day. Having your Thieves hand sanitizer in your pocket. There are so many things you can be doing on a daily basis to make sure that you are staying above the wellness line for your immune system and your respiratory system. So that's just kind of what I wanted to go over today. Some practical things that everyone can be doing. Stay away from sugar, y'all. I mean, it's hard to do. I'm not saying sugar's bad here and there, but don't eat sugar every single night, because when you have sugar, it lowers your immune system. It's literally true. And I can tell when I've eaten poorly the next day, I can tell my immunities aren't at 100%. So it's just something very simple that we need to be doing on a daily basis. Staying away from sugar, eating your meats and vegetables, trying to have a more alkaline diet, and just being more conscious of what you're putting on your body and in your body. Stay away from toxic perfume. Stay away from scented candles. Stay away from things that can really mess up your respiratory system, right? So anyway, that's kind of a little bit of what I wanted to share with you tonight. Just wanted to kind of share my heart and my passion when it comes to having a protocol, being a product of the product, and being consistent and persistent, because that's where you're going to see your results. And guys, let me say this to y'all. You're not going to necessarily see change overnight. I mean, it's kind of like, I've said this before, but I had a friend who tried oils for 2 days. Like, she's like, Hannah, I'm not seeing any results. I'm like, well, honey, two things. First off, if you eat Big Macs every day for 5 years and then you eat 2 days worth of a salad, do you think you're going to lose 50 pounds? She's like, no. I'm like, exactly, because it takes time to see progress. And that's exactly, especially when you do more natural things, it's going to take time for your body to adjust and reacclimate and to respond in a good way to what you're doing to your body. So, if you've never run a day in your life and, you weigh 300 pounds and you go for a half-mile jog for 2 days, you're not going to drop to 250 in 2 days, right? You may drop to 298, 297. You may lose good 299. But it's going to take your body time to respond to what's happening, react to what's happening, and reacclimate to what you're wanting to do. So be patient with the process, but just know that being persistent and consistent is what is going to help your body and your immune system and your respiratory system over time. Being consistent and persistent and acknowledging what you're putting on your body and in your body, and knowing that you're worth treating your body right. So that's all I got for you today, whichever time you're listening to this. Hannah Stevens here with the Oily Out Podcast. I hope you have a blessed week. I'll be back with you next week. And don't forget to like us on Facebook and Instagram. You can find us there on Oily App as well. That's all I've got for y'all. See y'all next week. Bye, y'all. See ya.